In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest Bitcoin technical analysis as we're undergoing a correction. Also, but check this out, just a few minutes ago, 1 billion worth of USDT was minted. This typically indicates we're probably going back up. Also, breaking news, Mr. 100 bought another 800 Bitcoin today. They now officially hold $3.8 billion worth of BTC. We'll also be discussing 48 U.S. lawmakers asked the SEC chairman Gary Gensler to clarify whether ETF is a security or not. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin bull Max Keiser slams Argentina's new Bitcoin regulatory regime. Quoting him here, Javier Milei makes his first major mistake. He never took the time to understand Bitcoin. Now he'll suffer the consequences. We'll also be discussing crypto giants' push to get a Bitcoin emoji. About time. We'll also be discussing the latest from Scam Bankman-Fried from prison. He says the FTX victims deserve to be paid in full at the current prices. I'll be sharing this latest report, as well as the latest from PlanB, creator of the Bitcoin stock to flow model. He forecasts a journey to a $5 million Bitcoin price. I'll be breaking down the timeline. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more in today's show. So there you go. 5 memberships just given away. Congratulations to Tough T, Myra Ferris, Eric Perez, and thanks for the reminder, Eric. It paid off. Michael K, Steve Stifler, the Stiffmeister in the building. Shout out to everyone that just got hooked up with the MicroStrategy membership of the channel. Congratulations. My commitment to you is every month I gift 10 memberships directly here from the channel. So we gifted 5 yesterday. So congrats to all the new members and all the members that just got gifted today. Let's go. But anyways, fam, if you're new to the channel, important to smash the subscribe button to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every day, just like this. Also equally important to pump that thumbs up, because by pumping the likes, you're helping to pump the stream, and it helps out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. Today is pod episode number 1597. I'm your host, JV, and welcome to day 2 of quarter 2 of 2024, April 2nd. Let's freaking go. Let's kick it off with our market watch. As we do each and every day, the entire market correcting and in the red, Bitcoin maintaining above 65,300 at the time of the live. We have Ether trading above 3,200, down 6% on the day. And as you can see, all the major cryptos correcting and in the red. The only one in the green is really Litecoin, up 8% on the day. And ironic, previous cycles, Litecoin typically leads the pack for the pump. So take that for what it's worth. But anyways, family, checking out coin market cap, you can see we're sitting on a 2.47 trillion market cap with roughly 127 billion in volume for the past 24 hours, meaning that's up 33%. Bitcoin dominance on a very modest rise. Yesterday was 52% even. Today we're 52.1%. And Ether dominance back on the decline all the way down to 15.9%. A few weeks ago, last time we saw the ETH dominance go so low, like in the 15s, it was only a matter of time before it surged back in the 18s. And now it has corrected back down here, which is also very interesting considering they just had another upgrade and it didn't really do much for the price action. But checking out the top 100 crypto gainers for the past 24 hours, we got Core leading the pack, up 17% on the day and 300% on the week. We got Tau up 12% and BGB up 9%. Below that, Litecoin, Athena, and Mantle, and virtually everything else is correcting and in the red as the market is correcting overall, which I remind you is healthy because this is what we can consider a pre-halving correction, nothing out of the ordinary. And checking out the crypto bubbles to get more of a visual perspective, virtually everything in the red for the day. Let's zoom out on the monthly. You can see for the month, we still got the majority of the alt in the green with some up pretty respectable numbers like Core 400%, Jupe 147%, Pepe 76%, and WIF 151%. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, same as yesterday. Today we're at 79, back in extreme greed. Last week in 81 and last month in 83. We keep an eye on this indicator because the higher we go, the more likely of a correction. So keep that in mind, family. And checking out the Bitcoin halving countdown, we have roughly 16 days to go until the most significant event that occurs only every 4 years here in crypto, with the halving estimated date to take place April 19th. Let's go. And checking out the time chain calendar, we're currently on block number 837,413 as outlined here. When we hit block 840,000, that's when the halving officially occurs. Right now, the Bitcoin market cap is sitting at 1.29 trillion, and you can get 1,528 Satoshis for $1 US. So there you go, fam. Where do you feel the Bitcoin price action will likely be by the time of the halving in 2.5 weeks? Holla. But anyways, let's dive into a little astrology for men, aka technical analysis. Headline reads, Bitcoin resets the bull market. Bitcoin price metrics as April dip passes 7%. As we can see on the 1 hour chart, Bitcoin's resetting multiple key metrics as Bitcoin price drop flushes out the leverage. Data from TradingView shows Bitcoin currently acting around 66 Gs after falling 5% in a single hourly candle. Bitcoin may be down 7% this month, but a retest of support is already having a cathartic effect on overheated markets. As reported, with the latest drop came a major liquidation event, one which totaled 400 million for Bitcoin and alts combined. And shout out to KJam, appreciate you joining the HODL gang. Shout out to the entire HODL gang and all the members of the channel. Respect. With it, per data from monitoring resource CoinGlass, funding rates started turning negative. Quoting Trader Jelly, prices are pushing lower and funding rates plummet. As a result, Bitcoin and ETH margin contracts already into the negatives. All leverage must be destroyed before price discovery. And in the latest edition of the Asia Morning Color market updates sent to the Telegram channel subscribers, trading firm QCP Capital acknowledged the significant change in the funding landscape. Quoting them here, the speed of the move was due to large liquidations on retail heavy exchanges like Binance, which saw perp funding rates go from as high as 77% to flat. The move brings spot prices right back in the middle of the 60 to 72,000 range. And while the perp funding has compressed, the rest of the forward curve remains very elevated. Will this be the move that brings the whole curve back down? Let me know your thoughts, family. Now, Bitcoin, as Jelly, amongst others noted, delivers its strongest performance with an RSI above 70. That's the relative strength index, corresponding to an overbought signal for price. Now, Bollinger Bands are echoing 45,000. So turning to the volatility, Bollinger Bands on the daily time frames are hinting at a fresh pre-breakout phase for the king. That's right. According to a chart shared on X by trader Matthew Highland, he drew comparisons to February, quoting him here. Daily Bollinger Bands continue to tight to levels not seen since the move started from 45 Gs. And in late November 2023, on both the RSI and Bollinger Bands demanding an acceleration of the bull market. So let me know if you feel we're likely to repeat. And check this out. This was breaking news before we went live. 1 billion worth of USDT was minted a few minutes ago. Jay Powell prints another 1 billion US treasuries through Tether on this Tornado TRX. This indicates we are probably going back up. Shout out Marty Party. Another breaking news, we got Mr. 100, which could be an undisclosed nation state, also bought another 800 biddies today, and they now hold 3.8 billion worth of Bitcoin. So my question for y'all, who do you think this Mr. 100 undisclosed potential nation state is? Holla at your boy. Could it be Andrew Tate? Tate, brags about being a billionaire. And he also tweeted a few days ago, as I covered in the pod, that he has been buying Bitcoin every single week without fail since he got in 2018, and says he has never sold. So it makes me wonder, could this be Mr. Andrew Tate, Mr. 100? Could it be Jeff Bezos? Or could it just be another nation state that haven't disclosed it yet and they've been accumulating secretly? But anyways, next story of the day. Pump the likes, pump the stream. Greatly appreciate y'all. Is Ethereum a security? Mr. No Claire Gare provides no clarity, hence why he's No Claire Gare and why he has no hair. Just saying. This guy looks like a splitting image of Mr. Burns, does he not? You guys watch The Simpsons growing up? That's Mr. Burns right there. So yeah, 48 US lawmakers asked No Claire Gare to clarify whether ETH is a security. But obviously he's No Claire Gare, so I won't be shocked if we don't get an answer here. But here's the latest. 48 US lawmakers sent a letter to the US SEC Chair Mr. No Hair Gare last week regarding Ether potentially being classified as a security by the Commission. In their letter, the Congress members raised concerns about the classification of Ether, particularly following an announcement by Ethereum, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but whatever, a subsidiary which could offer custody services for ETH to institutional clients later in the month. The letter was signed by 48 lawmakers, including Patrick McHenry, Glenn Thompson, French Hill, Dusty Johnson, Tom Emmer, and Warren Davison. Personally, I'm fans of Tom and Warren because they both stuck it to Gary when he was testifying, right, in front of Congress. But anyways, they explained that both the SEC and the CFTC have long recognized ETH as a non-security digital asset or digital commodity. October 2023, the SEC approved 9 exchange-traded funds that provide exposure to ETH through CFTC-regulated ETH commodity future products. However, the lawmakers told Gensler, despite the history of recognizing ETH as a non-security digital asset, you have consistently refused to acknowledge that ETH is not a security. The letter highlights that in March 2023, testimony before the House Committee on Financial Services, Gensler declined to answer multiple questions about whether ETH should be considered a commodity. They expressed concern that the SEC chairman's unwillingness to clarify the treatment of ETH exasperates the confusion and uncertainty regarding the classification, as demonstrated by the pro-Ethereum announcement. Quoting them here, your unwillingness to identify which digital assets or so-called digital asset securities has sown confusion even for SEC-regulated entities. The letter stresses the regulatory treatment of ETH is not solely a matter of importance to the SEC. It directly implicates the CFTC and the commodity futures markets as well. They outlined the potential impact of the SEC classifying ETH as a digital asset security, noting it could restrict CFTC-registered commodity derivative exchanges from listing and offering ETH futures. This change could have significant implications for existing ETH market participants. They noted, that's right, especially investors, family. Now, additionally, they emphasize that such a classification could result in market participants losing access to a vital risk management tool, risking existing approved ETFs and causing price disruptions. Now, moreover, the Congress members warn that this classification could lead to violations of security laws by existing CFTC-registered entities and registrants offering security future products without proper registration. As they detail here, the negative repercussions of the SEC implicitly or directly classifying ETH as a digital asset security will cascade throughout the digital asset marketplace, both and in short and long term. The lawmakers then asked Mr. Gensler a series of questions regarding the SEC's classification of Ether. For example, one question asked whether ETH is considered a digital asset security. Another inquired about the SEC's determination process and timing regarding ETH's classification as a digital asset security. And additionally, they asked whether the SEC believes that CFTC-registered commodity derivative exchanges and futures commission merchants are violating federal security laws by trading in ETH derivatives. Quoting them again, we appreciate your attention to these critical matters and look forward to your response no later than April 9th, 2024, the letter concludes. So keep that on your calendar. That's the deadline, April 9th, and that is only 1 week away from today's date. So let me know your thoughts on Mr. No Claire Gare himself, and here's him being drilled by the Congress members.
What is it about Bitcoin that causes you to conclude it is not a security?
Well, one is there's no group of individuals in the middle.
Right, it's
there's
decentralized.
No group of
The biggest crypto failure in history is probably FTX at $9 billion. Were you the chairman of the SEC when FTX collapsed?
Yes,
And how many times did you meet with FTX prior to their collapse?
I think my public record shows 2.
You met it with FTX at least twice.
And it's funny, my public record shows at least 2. Why don't you just say I met with the man more than 2 times? So he's a scandalous little Mr. Burns mofo, just pointing out the obvious. Where's the real Gary Gensler? Please stand up. This one's for you, Gary.
Too many frauds and scams.
These clowns trying to take us down. What a guy. Wow, what a guy. Wow, what a guy.
Anyways, 75,000 before the halvening. Send it. And what are your thoughts on this story? Do you think ETH will be classified as a security or a commodity? Love to know your thoughts. I think the big difference and why Gary wants I think, thinking out loud, why he wants this to be deemed a security is so that SEC has ruling authority over it. If it's deemed a commodity, then it would be the CFTC. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my understanding of it. Gensler equals the Bond villain, yes, or Mr. Burns, one of the two. SBF was buying political favors. Now, interestingly, Max Keiser dropped a poll on X this morning, and he asked, will Biden pardon SBF? Now, I have been calling for that likely happening from the beginning. I have this weird feeling that SBF is going to be pardoned because he's a criminal, his family's criminals, and they do criminal activity. I think the word is collude with the other criminals, regulators and, authorities and things of this nature. So I would not be shocked, but I'd love to know your thoughts as well. Oh boy, and Gary Gensler's here. This one's for you, broski.
And let me just say,
Guess who's back again?
Gary's back. Tell a friend. Anyways, let's dive into our next story of the day and discuss unfortunate news with Argentina's new president, Milei. I'll just read you the story. The headline here reads, Bitcoin bull Max Keiser slams Argentina's new Bitcoin regulatory regime. That's right. Keiser took to social media X to express his disapproval, stating Milei's decision represents a major misstep. He asserts Milei's lack of understanding of Bitcoin will ultimately lead to negative consequences. Now, personally, I think it's nothing to do with a lack of understanding. I just think he has masters he is serving, and he is not the person he pretended to be when he was running for president. I think he's just another one of the puppets. We call that controlled opposition. But anyways, here's what Max wrote. Javier Milei makes his first major mistake. He never took the time to understand Bitcoin. Now he'll suffer the consequences. Milei, in the build-up to the presidential election, was seen as Bitcoin friendly. He secured a historic victory in Argentina's presidential runoff election November 19th, 2023, defeating his opponent Sergio Massa with 55% of the votes. And at his inauguration, December 10, 2023, many considered it a turning point in Argentine politics. There was hopeful anticipation for his plans to rebuild the nation economy and promote crypto adoption. This is so considering many believe Bitcoin has what it takes to help solve Argentina's inflationary woes. Let's not forget their local currency, I think, hyperinflated over 250% this year, family, so they need Bitcoin. But anyways, just before the last Christmas, contracts denominated in Bitcoin were legally recognized, meaning parties in Argentina can create contracts in which Bitcoin is the stipulated currency. However, just a few months into his presidency, signs of a shift in stance emerged. In late March, the Comisión Nacional de Valores in Argentina announced the implementation of a new mandatory registry of the virtual asset service provider, ushering in more regulation for entities operating with crypto assets in the country. Definitely not a good look. This development has drawn criticism from Max Keiser and members of the crypto community. Neo, for example, expressed disappointment in Milei's perceived reversal, highlighting the impact of the new regulations on Bitcoin adoption in Argentina. He claims that previously he used to pay contractors in Argentina using the Bitcoin Lightning Network, but since the new government took office, custodial apps have ceased allowing Bitcoin transfers. That's right, they no longer allow it, signaling a shift away from freedom in the crypto space. Talk about the takeaway. Similarly, Argentine NGO directive member and Money On-Chain Protocol co-founder Manuel Ferrari, in an interview with Forbes, described the new regulation as a terrible idea, quoting him here. It is a terrible idea to have a registry that enables the buying and selling of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is money, not a security. It's as wrong as if currency exchange houses for dollars or euros or shops where gold is bought and sold had to register with the CNV. It is complete nonsense. Some analysts have also agreed with Keiser, noting that if appropriate steps are not taken, Argentina may suffer the economic consequences. The analysts say they'll continue to watch keenly to see how far the crypto regulation moves will be implemented, given that Texas Bitcoin miners recently teamed up with Argentinian firms for sustainable mining operations. And I wanted to share some of my responses as well. I wrote, I wonder who he serves. And here's a video of President Milei dancing with Israeli settlers. So I think it kind of speaks for itself here. And here's what this user wrote here. I have roots in Argentina. Malay turned out to be a fluke. Fake, weak libertarian after all. I used to pay contractors in Argentina in Bitcoin via the Lightning Network until a few months ago. And he shows you here, Strike. Hi, we're reaching out to inform you as of Friday, March 29th, we're no longer able to support send globally transactions between the U.S. and Argentina. This is due to our payments partner in Argentina widening down operations. So definitely not a good look here whatsoever, family. So let me know your thoughts on Malay. Just another, wolf in sheep's clothing. Let me know your thoughts, family. But anyway, fam, next story of the day. Let's discuss Bitcoin emoji. How many of you think we should have a Bitcoin emoji? Let me know. Here's the latest. Crypto platform Nexo and more than 35 prominent organizations in the crypto space joined forces to push for an official Bitcoin emoji. Let's go. According to the announcement made April 2nd today, the initiative, Bitcoin Deserves an Emoji, aims to secure 50,000 endorsements worldwide. Within a week of the launch, over 10,000 individuals signed the petition, which was addressed to the Unicode Consortium, the governing body responsible for standardizing emojis across the platforms. And amongst the organizations back in the campaign are Brink, Bidget, Chainalysis, Kraken, Polygon, Brave, and Bitcoin Inc. And according to Costa, co-founder and executive chairman of Nexo, Bitcoin's market dominance and widespread adoption necessitates its representation through a unified symbol on all keyboards. Tell them, quoting them here, with 1.26 billion total Bitcoin addresses. Wow, we got a lot of addresses. And 190,000 plus professionals and tech pioneers pushing the global community forward. The Bitcoin emoji is long overdue. Yeah, damn right. I say we make a movie about the Bitcoin emoji after it launches. What are your thoughts? The push for a Bitcoin emoji is not only a symbolic gesture, but also a reflection of the crypto community's unity and determination to advance the adoption of Bitcoin worldwide. I'll tell you one thing, the forces of evil sure as hell will not want us to have a Bitcoin emoji. Now, drawing inspiration from past emoji campaigns, such as Taco Bell's quest for a taco emoji and Tinder's advocacy for an interracial couple icon. Interesting. The initiative behind Bitcoin Deserves an Emoji aims to create momentum enough to spark action from Unicode. So let's get on it, Unicode. And Cointelegraph spoke with Eleanor Genova, head of communications at Nexo, who called the campaign a heartbeat of global movement, resonating with the dreams of a vast community. Quoting them here, emojis, today's digital lingua franca, play a critical role in how we communicate emotions, intentions, and concepts. For Bitcoin, an emoji would not only symbolize its legitimacy, but also serve as an essential tool for education and mainstream acceptance. She highlighted the initiative is not just a call for representation of the crypto community, but a step towards Bitcoin's impact on the world while democratizing its presence and fostering a deep understanding and appreciation amongst the global audience. With traditional currencies, they were quick to find their emoji counterparts. The cryptocurrency realm, with Bitcoin leading the charge, remains conspicuously absent from the digital form of expression. And they also shared here, now imagine Bitcoin not just living in wallets and exchanges like crypto Twitter, Genova said, but living across billions of screens worldwide as its very own emoji symbol. She called the moment the collective responsibility of the industry to champion this cause and extend it to every Bitcoin user. Quoting them again, we have moved beyond the jargon of past bull runs and the fear of the past crypto winter. It is time to recognize Bitcoin for what it truly is, a culture, not just a mere fleeting trend. Preach. But anyways, fam, let me know if you agree or disagree with that. Do you think Bitcoin deserves its own emoji, not just on X, because we do have one on X, but on all platforms? Let me know your thoughts on that, family. Anyways, fam, keep the comments flowing. I appreciate that. Let's dive into the latest with the saga from Scam Bankman-Fried, and then we'll dive into our it's actually a 5 million price prediction. I forgot to update it from yesterday's show, hence why it says 10 million on the screen. But anyways, family, let's dive into this one. The headline reads, Sam Bankman-Fried speaks from prison, says FTX victims deserve to be paid in full at the current prices. This is the first time I heard him say this sentiment. It's interesting now that he has just got served a 25-year prison sentence that he is now saying they deserve to be paid in full, because you know what they were doing was virtually giving them the fiat equivalent of Bitcoin at the bottom of the market when it was 16,000, meaning if you had a one biddy in the FTX exchange and today that biddy is worth, say, 65,000, well, they're only looking to give you 16,000, which was the bottom, which was not right. So he's changed his tune. So let's read this. The founder and former CEO of the now collapsed FTX crypto exchange is speaking out from behind bars. Last week, the U.S. judge sentenced the disgraced FTX founder, Sam Bankman-Fried, to 25 years in prison after the former crypto tycoon was convicted of fraud charges last year. Now, in the first week of his 25-year sentence, SBF says his victims deserve a payout at the full current market price, according to the new report. Quoting him here, "I have heard and seen the despair, frustration, and sense of betrayal from thousands of customers. They deserve to be paid in full at the current price. That should and could have happened in November 2022, and it could and should happen today. It's excruciating to see them waiting day after day." Very interesting him to say that now, right? But anyways, last week, citing two people with knowledge of the restructuring negotiations, the Financial Times reported that the imploded crypto exchange will likely pay its former customers 120 to 140% of the value of their holdings on the day FTX filed for bankruptcy in November 2022. SBF also told ABC reporters that he is remorseful for his actions and the people who were hurt by them. Quoting him here, "It is most of what I think about each day. I never thought that what I was doing was illegal. But I tried to hold myself to a high standard, and I certainly didn't meet that standard." Now, the disgraced former CEO maintains there have been enough assets to pay back the customers for some time, and he says he is doing all he can to help from behind bars. All I got to say is stop trying to help anyone, Bankman-Fried. You're not helping anything. Quoting him here, "I am haunted every day by what I was lost. I never intended to hurt anyone or take anyone's money, but I was the CEO of FTX. I was responsible for what happened to the company. And when you're responsible, it doesn't matter why it goes bad. I'd give anything to be able to help repair even part of the damage. I am doing what I can from prison, but it is deeply frustrating not to be able to do more." Well, pretty much all you can do from prison is trade mackerel and give investment advice to the guards to buy Solana. Just saying. But what are your thoughts, family, regarding the latest from Bankman-Fried? Do you think he genuinely apologizes and has this remorse for the investors that lost all this money? Or do you think he's just saying that because, hey, he's already been sentenced to 25 years, and at this point, he's screwed unless he gets pardoned by Mr. Let's Go Brandon Joe Biden?
More than 5 sats in your shack and get it on. Had the people on my back to get a song. Bears broke, have a talk, we smoked them like a bong.
Boom. Smoked them like a bong. Goodbye, Bears. Anyways, fam. Now for our feature story of the day. PlanB, creator of the Bitcoin stock-to-flow model, shares his forecast of a journey to a $5 million Bitcoin price. Let's break it down, and let's start with the infamous tweet which sparked the article. Quoting PlanB from this tweet, March 18th, so that was a couple of weeks ago. It got over 500,000 views, and here's what he wrote. "Stock-to-flow 2020-2024 halving cycle. $50,000. Stock-to-flow 2024-2028 halving cycle, the cycle we're in, $500,000. Send it." Then he says stock-to-flow 2028-2032, which is the following halving cycle, $5 million per coin. Let's go. And he also says, yes, stock-to-flow equals exponential growth, and it will continue, in my opinion. Now, if you're not familiar with the stock-to-flow, here's the stock-to-flow chart. Let's analyze it, shall we? It's ultimately showing us Bitcoin being somewhere between 100,000 a coin and 5 million per coin between this halving coming up and within the next couple of halvings by the year 2032. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the stock to flow. Why I personally am a fan of the stock to flow, it has been very accurate up until the previous cycle, but I think it was due to some of the black swans like FTX and Luna and a lot of the unexpected crap occurring, which took us off of our trajectory. Now, PaxB responded, "I'd be happy if this happens, but 3-4 data points can only predict the general direction, not the price, like 500,000 average 2024-2028. Caution is advised to all." PlanB responded, Very true. Only 3 halvings, which were 2012, 2016, and 2020, plus the crucial pre-halving period where Bitcoin stock to flow grew from below 1 to a 4. And stock to flow is only for a general direction, of course, and with wide error margin. For example, the prediction from 2020 to 2024 was 55,000, but the reality was $33,000. So PlanB makes a good point there. So let's dive a little deeper. According to the model, the forthcoming halving cycle spanning 2020 to 2024 is expected to solidify the Bitcoin price at 50,000. But the real spectacle unfolds in the ensuing cycles, with projections setting the stage for Bitcoin to ascend to $500,000 per coin this cycle between 2024 and 2028. Let's go. And eventually reaching the monumental 5 million per coin by 2028 to 2032 cycle. Now, just the other day, it may have even been on yesterday's podcast. Check it out if you missed it. We discussed Kathy Wood of ARK Invest projecting 3.8 million per coin, which is right in alignment with the stock to flow. Now, the predictions made by PlanB has sparked interest and debate amongst the community. Many are curious to see if Bitcoin will experience the forecasted substantial growth. Let me know your thoughts, fam, in the chat, and expressing hopefulness, yet advising caution due to the limited number of data points, as I pointed out, that stock to flow is ultimately supply and demand. And when you have unprecedented demand with a very limited supply, for example, right now there's only roughly 2 million Bitcoin available in the exchanges. And as I've covered on the show, crypto quant analysts project within the next 12 to 18 months, there will be a supply shock, meaning there will be no more Bitcoin available on the exchanges, driving the prices up. And that's all you got to know. That's kind of the bigger picture that I believe trumps all the astrology for men, aka technical analysis. We just got to look at the supply and demand. So personally, that's why I'm a big fan of the stock to flow, but I digress. PlanB acknowledged this caution, pointing out that his predictions are based on 3 past halving events and the significant pre-halving period, suggesting that while the stock to flow model can guide the general trend, its accuracy comes with a considerable margin of error. So for instance, while the 2020-2024 period was projected to see the average price of 55 Gs, the actual average figure was $33,000. And additionally, another user in the conversation, known as Phoenix, remarked that while PlanB's projection might seem overly optimistic, the true outcome remains to be seen, emphasizing the need for patience. That's right. You got to have sage-like patience. And if you can have that one thing, you're going to do well in Bitcoin, family. My personal recommendation is for everyone to hodl for a minimum of 1 to 2 cycles, meaning 4 to 8 years, because history has shown us every 4-year hodler is in the green, in the black, in the profit. So if you want to be in the profit, that's all I got to do, family, is hodl thy biddies and continue stacking them sats. Just saying. But anyways, the user highlighted the uncertainty surrounding the Bitcoin future, especially considering the potential impacts of the ETFs and widespread adoption, signaling an open-minded but watchful approach to market developments. That's right. So some other things to consider as well. So besides the supply shock, which is going to occur later on in the year, we also have a presidential election, just like we had in 2020. So there's a lot of uncertainty out there. Interesting. Do you think Satoshi specifically designed it to where we have a halving? I know it's dependent upon the block and it's hard to predict the time, but nonetheless, we've been having the halvings every 4 years. So for example, the first one was 2012, the second one was 2016, the third one was 2020, and now the fourth one is going to be here in 2024, and then the next projected halving is likely to be in 2028. Do you think that was all by strategic design and alignment with the 4-year presidential cycle in America? I'm curious your thoughts. Do let me know. Now, other factors of why I'm so bullish personally and why I can see these crazy price predictions actually turning into fruition is the fact we have unprecedented demand coming from the institutions. This did not exist previous cycle when we hit the all-time high back on November 10th of 2021. That was driven purely by retail. So this time, not only will we have the retail back in the flesh, the higher the price goes, the more people will FOMO in. That's just the nature of humans, right? But we also have unprecedented institutional FOMO. So for example, BlackRock now holds 250,000 Bitcoin. It took them less than 3 months. It took MicroStrategy over 4 years to acquire over 200,000 Bitcoin. And now MicroStrategy controls 1% of the circulating supply, but their goal is to control 5% of the circulating supply, which means they're looking to increase their holdings from 200,000+ to 1 million Bitcoin. That's one publicly traded company. What about the other publicly traded companies that haven't even adopted Bitcoin yet? What about the other companies like Tesla? I know they sold 75% of their stash, but they still hold on to some Bitcoin, SpaceX, etc. What if some other MicroStrategies come out of the woodwork and they're all competing to get a 1% or 5% circulating supply, right? Right now it's neck and neck. We got BlackRock and MicroStrategy. What about Fidelity, a $4.5 trillion institution? What about Vanguard? Yeah, they may be bashing Bitcoin on the surface, saying it's against our ethos. We don't believe in it. Now their CEO is stepping down, lo and behold. But guess what? They're the largest shareholder of MicroStrategy. So even the haters of Bitcoin that are proclaiming to be anti-Bitcoin have indirect exposure to Bitcoin. What about all the nation states that are having direct or indirect exposure to Bitcoin? What if Mr. 100 is a nation who has been secretly purchasing Bitcoin, as whistleblower Edward Snowden had revealed a couple of weeks back, which we covered here in the pod? What about the sovereign wealth fund adoption? What about the Middle East? What about Qatar, supposed to allegedly be sitting on a $500 billion sovereign wealth fund looking to convert it all into Bitcoin? What about the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia? What about the largest oil company in the world recently announcing partnering with the largest Bank of Japan? Talking about Aramco and SBI Holdings. Once you start to calculate all this and start to realize how limited the Bitcoin supply is, supply shock becomes very realistic, right? And also, we have billionaires that love accumulating sats. It's the only unconfiscatable wealth, and it is the apex predator. Billionaires that come to mind: Kathy Wood of ARK Invest, Ricardo Salinas, third richest man in Mexico. You know what I mean? Tim Draper, the billionaire venture capitalist himself. And there's so many others. What about Jeff Bezos? Could that be Mr. 100? Who knows? What about Zuck, right? People who have no Bitcoin will be the biggest losers. And billionaires are smart people. And as I shared in the other show, we did a little analysis. There's 2,500 approximately billionaires on the planet. We did, I believe I remember 1,000 or so are 70 years or older. So a lot of them are the baby boomers, etc. But there's a lot of money. The total addressable market could be north of $900 trillion. And if 1/3 of the total addressable market were to go into Bitcoin, we're talking about like crazy numbers. I'm just going to throw out a number that's crazy. $100 million Bitcoin price. This can become a reality, but the reality is we don't know. But that's what makes this all so exciting. We don't know what tomorrow holds. We don't know if we're going to correct down to 60,000 this time tomorrow or go right back to 74 in enterprise discovery mode, and within the next couple of weeks before the halving, hit $100,000. That's what makes this thing so exciting, right? Nobody can predict the future. All we can say is, hey, I think this is going to happen based on this or based on the previous cycles. Another major catalyst different from all the other cycles that come before us is this is the first time in Bitcoin history where we eclipse the previous all-time high pre-halving. So does that mean all the old models are broken and out the window? Could we be on a 10-year bull run just getting started, as Michael Saylor predicted? Let me know your thoughts, family, and when do you feel we're likely to hit that $5 million price projection from PlanB? Do you think it'll be within 2028 to 2032? Holla at your boy. Fresh just did the unthinkable and gifted 10 memberships of the MicroStrategy membership of the channel to the following: Gerald, congratulations. Arshane Gaming, congratulations. Sela says, Andrew, ETH is a decline. Old tech, high fees, okay. Bitcoin, but not ETH. Freddie Krueger, congratulations. You're a member. Abel, Abdel, congrats. Vance, Duffy, Virtual Gold, Moon Safari, Omar, and Don G. Dangler. You have all been hooked up on behalf of Fresh, so please do show Fresh some serious love. Fresh is an OG. He's been gifting so many memberships, it blows my mind. First time he caught my attention, he gifted 50 memberships. Like, he clicked the button and gifted 50 memberships, literally. And today he just gifted 10. I don't know how many memberships he's gifted total, but probably close to 100. So greatly appreciate you. You're the man. Cheers to that. Whoa. Shout out Zero just gifted 5 memberships as well. Trav, Wrench Whisperer, Francis, Born to Code, and Alan David. You've all been hooked up. Massive shout out to Zero for blessing you guys. We greatly appreciate your kindness, family. Shout out to Zero. Let's go.